In my sophomore year of college, I moved into an old hostel with a rich history. It wasn't long before I started hearing stories about a particular room on the third floor, room 333. Legend had it that a student had mysteriously disappeared from that room years ago, leaving behind an unsolved mystery. Against the advice of my friends, I chose room 333 as my residence. At first, everything seemed normal, but as the days went by, strange things started happening. Late at night, I would hear footsteps in the hallway outside my room, and the sound of someone tapping on the door. One night, as I lay in bed studying, I heard a soft voice whispering my name. "Emma," it said. My heart raced as I looked around the dimly lit room. There in the corner, I saw a faint figure, a young girl in an old-fashioned school uniform. She seemed sad, her eyes pleading for something. Despite the fear coursing through me, I couldn't help but feel sympathy for the apparition. Tentatively, I asked, "What happened to you?" The ghostly figure hesitated before pointing towards the window. The moonlight revealed a faded photograph on the windowsill, a group of students among them, the girl I was now conversing with. Over the next few weeks, the encounters became more frequent. I learned that her name was Emily, and she had vanished mysteriously one stormy night. As I delved into the hostel's archives, I discovered newspaper clippings detailing Emily's disappearance. Her story had become a local legend, but the truth remained elusive. Determined to help Emily find peace, I contacted a paranormal investigator. Together, we conducted a seance in room 333. As we called out to Emily, the room seemed to come alive with energy. A sudden gust of wind extinguished the candles, plunging us into darkness. In that moment, Emily's voice echoed through the room, thanking me before fading away. From that night on, the strange occurrences in room 333 ceased. The room, once haunted by a silent roommate, now felt tranquil. The unsolved mystery that had lingered for years finally found resolution. As a first-year student in an old hostel, I quickly became acquainted with the tales of the hostel's resident ghost, a mischievous spirit known for playing pranks on unsuspecting residents. Initially skeptical, I dismissed the stories as mere campus folklore. That is until I moved into room 214. The pranks started innocently enough. Items misplaced, strange noises in the middle of the night, and flickering lights. I chalked it up to the quirks of an old building until one night when things took a more unsettling turn. I awoke to the sound of laughter echoing through the room, but my roommate was fast asleep, completely undisturbed. As the weeks went by, the pranks escalated. Books flew off shelves, doors slammed shut without warning, and eerie whispers filled the air. One night, I awoke to find my reflection in the mirror contorting into a twisted, grinning face. Terrified, I began to question my sanity. Determined to unravel the mystery, I researched the hostel's history. It turned out that room 214 had once belonged to a student named Samuel, known for his love of pranks. Tragically, Samuel had met his end in a prank gone wrong, leaving behind a legacy that lingered in the hostel's corridors. Emboldened by my discovery, I decided to communicate with the prankster spirit. I set up a makeshift Ouija board, and with trepidation, invited Samuel to make contact. To my surprise, the planchette moved, spelling out words of remorse and longing for redemption. With the help of a spiritual guide, I conducted a cleansing ritual in room 214. As the incense wafted through the air, the room seemed to sigh in relief. The pranks ceased, and the once mischievous spirit found solace. Room 214, once a hotbed of supernatural activity, transformed into a haven of calm. In my final year of college, I resided in a hostel renowned for its academic rigor. The intense atmosphere of the hostel was complemented by rumors of a diligent ghost, a former student who, even in the afterlife, continued to study in the hostel's library. Late one night, burdened by impending exams, I found solace in the silent halls of the library. As I delved into my books, I noticed another figure at a distant table, a translucent young man, absorbed in his studies. Intrigued rather than frightened, I cautiously approached him. To my surprise, the ghostly figure acknowledged my presence with a nod and a faint smile. Curiosity overcoming fear, I asked if he needed help or if he was preparing for an exam. The spectral student introduced himself as Daniel, a former mathematics major who had passed away years ago. In life, he had been devoted to his studies, and in death, he found solace in the familiar surroundings of the library. Over the following weeks, Daniel and I became unlikely study partners. I would bring my textbooks, and he would share insights from his academic pursuits in the afterlife. Far from being a source of fear, Daniel's presence became a comforting companion during those long, solitary study sessions. Word spread about my spectral study partner, and soon other students began to sense Daniel's benevolent presence in the library. Together, we formed an unspoken alliance, the living and the departed, united by a shared pursuit of knowledge. As graduation approached, I bid farewell to Daniel, expressing gratitude for his unexpected companionship. The hostel library, once rumored to be haunted by a diligent ghost, became a symbol of the enduring connection between the living and the spectral, a place where the pursuit of knowledge transcended the boundaries of life and death. As a college freshman, I moved into a historic hostel with a reputation for its haunted past. One night, while cramming for exams, I heard whispers echoing through the corridors. Ignoring them at first, the voices grew more distinct. Curiosity got the best of me, and I followed the ghostly murmurs to the long-abandoned wing of the hostel. The air in the deserted hallway turned icy as I ventured deeper. Flickering lights cast eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper. Suddenly, a spectral figure materialized before me. It was a young woman in outdated clothing, her eyes filled with sorrow. She spoke of unrequited love and a tragic end. As her tale unfolded, I felt a chill in my bones. Haunted by the spirit's story, I delved into the hostel's archives. To my shock, I found records of a love affair gone awry in the very same wing. Determined to help the tormented soul find peace, I organized a symbolic farewell, acknowledging the tragedy that had befallen her. Miraculously, the whispers ceased, and the atmosphere lightened. The abandoned wing, once shrouded in sorrow, seemed to exhale a sigh of relief. One stormy night, the hostel's atmosphere became charged with an inexplicable energy. A rhythmic tapping echoed through the halls, drawing me to the attic. As I climbed the creaky stairs, the tapping intensified. Opening the attic door, I was greeted by an otherworldly sight. A spectral figure, translucent and draped in a tattered cloak, diligently tapping away on an ancient typewriter. The ghostly writer seemed unaware of my presence, engrossed in creating an unseen narrative. Intrigued, I approached cautiously. The words materialized on the yellowed pages of the typewriter, recounting tales of forgotten students and untold hostel secrets. Driven by a desire to understand the mysteries of the past, I researched the hostel's archives. To my amazement, I found similarities between the ghostly tales and actual events from decades ago. It was as if the phantom writer was chronicling the forgotten history of the hostel. In an attempt to acknowledge the spirit's literary endeavors, I set up a small reading corner in the attic. The tapping continued, now accompanied by the rustling of pages. The ghostly writer, it seemed, had found a willing audience in me. The attic, once a source of mysterious tapping, transformed into a haven for the spectral scribe, etching the hostel's stories into the tapestry of the supernatural.